This man committed a crime so horrific that he was given an immediate whole life tariff. Hello there, stranger. This is part 42 of the Britain's Whole Lifers series, so viewer discretion as always is advised. Extra trigger warning, today's case involves SA. So today I'm going to be telling you about Victor Dembowskis, who was born around 1963 in Latvia. Dembowskis was convicted of R-ing someone at knife point in 1990 and then the exact same crime again in 1999. Both of these crimes were committed in Latvia and I don't know what the sentences were. The sentence for that crime in Latvia ranges from 4 years to life imprisonment. Again, I don't know what his sentences were, but he came to England after those crimes sometime around late 2004, early 2005. Within 6 months of his arrival, he would commit a brutal attack, taking the life of a 17-year-old girl. Jeshma Raithatha was a student studying for her A-levels. She was an aspiring actress, a talented singer. She was a much-loved daughter and sister and friend. She was a young lady with her entire life ahead of her. She was 3 days shy of her 18th birthday when her life was stolen. On the 16th of May 2005, Dembowskis, who was 42 years old at the time, lay in wait for Jeshma as she returned to her home in West London. This guy is a predator in every single sense of the word, having scoped out the area of the footpath where he could pounce on Jeshma and then drag her through some thick underbrush to a clearing which couldn't be seen from the path. He would manually compress her neck until she was unconscious and then her. He then impaled her through the heart 3 times. He would just leave Jeshma there in that clearing, her entire future gone in just a few devastating moments. Jeshma was reported missing that evening. Being a responsible girl, it was totally out of character for her to have not answered the phone or replied to any text messages, and so her family became concerned immediately. A search ensued, but Jeshma lay undiscovered for 8 days until the 24th of May. Once Jeshma's remains had been discovered, the police could work towards forensics and other evidence at the scene, not least the fact that Dembowskis had forgotten his keys. They worked quickly and diligently and were massively helped by members of the public that reported that a tenant in a shared property had left on or around the 20th of May, leaving behind all of his belongings. The police promptly matched the key found at the scene of the horrific crime to the lock of the missing tenant and identified that missing tenant as Victor Dembowskis. Also in his room they found a blue fleece, and in that fleece were 2 necklaces that belonged to Jeshma. They were stained with red bodily fluid. Further investigation showed that on the morning of the 20th of May, Dembowskis had purchased a one-way ticket to Latvia via London Victoria coach station and had fled the country. English and Latvian police liaised, and with a European arrest warrant in hand, English investigators travelled to Latvia to locate and arrest Dembowskis. He was at his home in Livani, some 90 miles from Latvia's capital, Riga. He was arrested on the 2nd of June and extradited back to England to face the consequences of his diabolical actions. This piece of Dembowskis pled not guilty and subjected Jeshma's family to the trauma and ordeal of a trial. DNA evidence placed him at the scene of the crime. He had left his keys at the scene of the crime. He had stolen 2 of Jeshma's necklaces and then left them inside of his room. The evidence against him was overwhelming. It took the jury just 3 hours to find him guilty of M and 2 counts of R. Thankfully, our justice system really comes through in this case, and the judge, in a rare instance, sentenced Dembowskis to a whole life order. And that sentence is quite rare in the UK for somebody that hasn't taken more than 1 life. And in this case, in my opinion, it's totally righteous. How many times have we seen it on the list? Do not give this man the opportunity to do it again. He already had 2 prior convictions in Latvia, and what he did to Jeshma was just unspeakably cruel. He stole a young lady's life in a senseless and brutal attack, and she was a loved, beautiful young lady that had her entire future ahead of her. Rest in peace to Jeshma. And I'm glad Victor Dembowskis will never be free again. And that is part 42. I don't know if the vetting procedure has changed since 2005. I know obviously politically a lot of things have, but I didn't check that. Please, as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think it was righteous, a whole life order. That's where I stand. And as always, strangers, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next one.